before we get into this video, click the link in the description right there to go check out the podcast arc. It is moving to its own channel, so check that out. We're going to be going all out on it. I am. We're going to have guests on there all the time. It's going to be a fun time. So if you want all your manga and anime news, and you want more of that awesome podcast with awesome creators around the community, be sure to hit that link in the description, hit that sub button, and then you're good to go. What's up, everybody? My name is Bryce, aka DubsNotSubs, and welcome back to another video. And we are going to get into a manga haul, and it has been a while since I've been able to do one of these because we finally got stuff in. Stuff finally got shipped out, and I have stuff to cover. So I have a little bit from July. There's not a lot of stuff on there, but we got a decent amount of books. We got a lot of stuff I get to catch up on. It's been nice. I've been catching up on a lot of series I've already had, and I was almost starting to run dry, and my TBR is now back to being full again, and I'm overwhelmed. But with this new setup, I want to address real quickly. It's not going to stay like this. It's just doing it for a temporary thing because I'm actually remodeling my room a little bit. I do this like once a year where I just completely redo a room, and I guess I'll show you it real quick, just the disaster area that it is. So stuff is everywhere. Moving the whole case, and that's because I'm actually putting in a new shelf somewhere in here that holds something very special to me that you guys should know if you know this channel, because it's pretty obvious what I make content about. But anyway, I'll show you guys that in a manga haul. Not in a manga haul, in a manga collection video, because I may be hinting towards doing that pretty soon, because I haven't done one in a year, and it's time to do it again. But I'm starting to, realize, everybody has that, their own shtick and thing that they have on YouTube. Zach is all about legal manga, Base Senpai's the male guy, Flip does all, that super niche stuff, mecha, and all that kind of good things. I'm realizing that very quickly in this community. I think I'm just giving myself, the most, scuffed personality. I just have the most, underground, fucking fucked up setups ever. I'm the punk rock of the manga community. You guys just don't understand me. That's what it is. But without further delay, let's get right into this video and starting off with our miscellaneous stuff. So for this, I got basically Square Enix, 7 Seas, Tokyo Pop, and then what is this? Is this Kodansha? No, a Yin Press. Okay. Anyway, we're going to start off with right here, Totally Bound Hanako-kun volume number 4. I just finished volume 3 recently. Obviously, with my review on it on this channel, you guys go check that out if you want to see my full thing on it. But I am enjoying it. I like where it's going. Not a huge fan of yokai manga. I said that in the podcast last time with Neon. So, it takes a special thing. I'm enjoying it. It doesn't blow me away, but it's enough to keep me buying it and keep me interested. Next up, we have a series called Wandering Witch, The Journey of Elena. I think I said that last name right, but this story, I really enjoy these types of stories. It's a lot of just going around to new different areas, and it's a lot of philosophical and metaphorical kind of stories. So you'll get one where I'll just kind of spoil it, where she goes to this town and there's a huge flower, massive area of flowers, and she goes in the town, finds out that there's this girl missing, and she talked to one in the field, and only to find out that she's been dead this entire time. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that field and what happened to her and how her brother is involved. It's really cool, and it was actually a very dark ending to one of these stories, which is not usually kind of a thing in these, but with something like Kino's Journey, which really got me interested in these kind of stories. I really like this slice of life, journey of life. What's the meaning of life? What is to live? What's to love? It's asks a lot of questions and gives you a lot of area to kind of think and try to feel what your own answer is. It's basically you get to interpret your own kind of meaning. But anyway, next up we have Blank Canvas, My So-Called Artist Journey. I absolutely love this. Watching, I don't want to say the name wrong, Akihiko Hikishimura, watching her autobiography and how she became an artist. It's really interesting between her relationship with Sensei and herself. It's a really interesting book. I 100% recommend you guys read it if you like knowing about manga creation, how people get to these kind of situations where they do manga professionally, what kind of paths these kind of artists went on their lives, because it really gives you a behind the curtain scenes of how manga is created, because you get things like Naruto, Noragami, all these crazy over the top battle kind of manga, but you never really get to see what these people are actually going through or what got them to the situation. It's a very down-to-earth book, and I really, really enjoy it. And last up, for the miscellaneous stuff, we have a Tokyo Pop series, and that is The Fox and the Little Tanuki. Now, Base, don't you fucking do it. Don't call me a furry. I'm not a furry, Base. I know I keep buying so many anthropomorphic animal stuff. It doesn't help me, but So this story follows Senzu, who's a black fox that got sentenced for 500 years in prison and like this weird like second world thing where you can't do anything, and he gets released. He has to raise the tanuki that's on the cover right here to become one of the servants of the sun god. I believe the sun god. It's one of the gods for it, but we get to see his journey of basically him opening up, coming to terms with like having a family, what made him like this, why he's so bad, what got him into those situations. We get to see little Tanuki grow up and become a servant of God, and just all these other people that are in there. Well, people, animals, I guess. But it's actually really good. The best way I can describe this is it's really like a Disney story. It very much feels like a Disney movie, and it's really good. It's really got some really good dramatic moments and lighthearted, and it just feels like a really nice read. It's just it's relaxing, but it's engaging enough to where you don't have to you don't turn your brain off and stop listening. It's perfect for that like younger audience to like an older audience. And if you like your more I wouldn't call it even dark, but kiddish dark kind of a story, then you'll love this, because it's actually really good, and I really do highly recommend it. But anyway, let's get on to our next up, which is our Kodansha. For our first part of the Kodansha section, we have Eden Zero by Hiro Mashima. And I don't care what anybody says about this series. It may not be the most technically impressive manga ever. He may reuse characters, models, and create similar stories, but this whole the whole concept of friendship being an overlying meaning in all his books, he makes one of the most fun reads ever, every single time. So I don't care what people say. I personally love Hiro Mashima's work, from Fairy Tail Rave Master to Eden Zero. It is so good, so fun. He knows what he's doing, and he knows how to engage his audience. He knows how to make a really engaging and fun read. Maybe not the most technically correct things. There's still a lot of holes sometimes in some of his stories, but overall, it is just so good and such a good time. I love Eden Zero. I'm loving reading through it. Watching this story of Shinki going to the outer world. I don't want to say what the end game is, just in case you don't want spoilers, but it's really good, and I highly recommend it if you like your action battle stuff. It's a really good and fun action read. Next up, we have O Maidens in Your Savage Season by Marie Okada and Nao Imito. Imito does the art and Marie Okada does the writing. And before I go down on this path, I'm gonna, caution myself, because Marie Okada is one of my favorite writers and directors for anime and manga. She is so good with things like Makia When the Promised Flower Bloom, Anohana, Her Blue Sky, O Maidens in Your Savage Season. Go check out any of those if you want to see what Marie Okada works. One of my favorite directors of all time, and this story is just as good. And my god, is it getting a bit steamy in here? There's some stuff that goes down, and there's a lot of tensions flying, and I cannot wait to see where this story is going. And I'm not a huge fan of shoujo. I've said this many times. It basically, like my yokai stuff, it needs to be special. It needs to be just the cream of the crop, the best of the best. And O Maidens in Your Savage Season definitely is that special shoujo series that I can recommend to anybody, and is super interesting look into a high school girl's life of growing up, and is really fun and is a really good read. Anyway, next up we have Boarding School Juliet. And yes, I'm a sucker for rom-coms, and this is one of my favorites because it is one of the first series I ever read and watched. I watched it on Amazon Prime Video. I saw the first 12 episodes. I think it's only one season on there, so if you want to go see it and check it out, go on Amazon Prime Video. You can watch it for free if it's still up there. I'm not sure if their licensing gave up for it, but I love this, watching Juliet and Persia try to go in this school and love when they're not supposed to be loved and do what they do despite all the adversity. Is such a good read. So many funny, sweet, amazing moments in this manga. I love my rom-coms, and I cannot get enough of Boarding School Juliet. Next up, we have Beyond the Clouds, volume number 2, and now I haven't got into this one yet, and from my last review of it on my channel, again, you can go check that out if you want to see my full opinions on it, because I don't remember them exactly, because it's been so long since I've read it. This is a good read. I enjoyed it. It's a lot like I would describe The Fox and the Tanuki. I don't know where I put it. It's over there somewhere, but I would describe it kind of like that, with that Disney Ghibli-esque kind of feel to it. It is a really good child's read, only I would say this one doesn't have really dark moments into it. Actually, there was a little bit of a dark moment at the end of it, but I wouldn't describe it really as dark. I don't know. I don't know how to describe a kid's oriented manga as dark in any sense. It just has that little bit of tension, high tension, and more serious moments, I guess, rather than the more like whimsical and fantasy-esque stuff in it. But the art in this is super good. I love it. I love Beyond the Clouds from Volume 1. I cannot wait to get into Volume 2. It's such a good, fun read. Now, next up, let's get into our Viz stuff. First up, for the Viz Media stuff, we have Komi Can't Communicate Volume number 7. Now, Bay said this the best because he was talking about dropping this series because his favorite parts about it were the Tano and Komi moments in it, and I 100% wholeheartedly agree with him that that is the best part of this manga, and that is what I look forward to the most every time a volume comes out. But I also do love the more slice of life and down-to-earth segments, or the more comedy segments of it. I like all the characters for it, even though they're not really well developed and they're all just like whatever their trope is, that's just what they are, and there's really not any development to it. It's still funny. I still enjoy the jokes. I really like this book overall. I do wish there were more Tadano and Komi moments. That is the bread and butter of this series, in my opinion. I think that is what makes it the best for it. But watching her going on her journey to make 100 friends and watching Komi slowly progress and change over here. There's actually character progression within her, which is really nice to see for these kind of series. Usually, I was worried if she was just kind of stayed the same the entire time and things were just going to kind of work around for her. But she's slowly changing, and slowly things within her are moving around, and she's doing her own thing, and she's growing up. And I really enjoy watching her go on this journey. But next up, we have Demon Slayer volumes 15 and 13, and 14 I forgot to order apparently, so now I have to go on Amazon and buy that so I can officially catch up on this. I think I'm 4 volumes behind. I'm on volume 12 at the moment, so I can't even read these yet, which is kind of good because then I don't have to worry about volume 14 there. But hey, it is what it is. I love Demon Slayer. I heard the ending was pretty disappointing, but I think the manga artist had some like drama go on in her life where I think there was some family medical issues or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure, but something happened where she had to end up just quickly finish writing it and then go deal with her personal life. So it's a little disappointing to see that I got a lackluster ending, but I still love the series, and I'm going to collect it all because it is so good, and I love how Demon Slayer is. And sometimes it's about the journey, not the destination. And next up, we have The Promised Neverland. This is such a good series. Again, I heard that this kind of had a mid-ending for it. I don't think it was as bad as Demon Slayer from what I've heard from people complaining about it, but I heard it had an okay ending. We're getting close to the end. I believe there's 20 volumes in total, either that or 21. But we're getting very close to the end, and I cannot wait to see how this story goes. I cannot wait to see how Emma, Ray, and Norman get out of this situation. Either conquer the demons, coexist with the demons, or everything burns and everyone dies. Who knows? It's a guess at this point and a toss-up. But I love this, and I'm super excited to get back into this because I've had to wait so long to finally get into Volume 16. Next up, we have My Villain Academia, or better known as My Hero Academia. We are going to get into the villain arc of this stuff, and I've heard that this is actually a really good look into the villains, and I've not gotten into this one yet, but I really do like this cover. It's really cool. I don't know if I would say it's my favorite cover. I can't remember what all the covers look like, but you guys know how good Horikoshi is at this manga. It is so good, so top tier. I cannot complain about it. It's so good. I mean, we got a classroom Toga on the back. I'm not even a fan of Toga, but I don't even hate that right there. She's such a good artist, and it's such a good story. Wholeheartedly recommend that if you guys are sleeping on My Hero Academia for some insane reason, maybe because it's too popular. Ugh, I hate that argument. I really do hate the argument that's like, ooh, it's popular, so that means it's not good. It's just overrated. It's just such a discredit to any series that's popular. But anyway, speaking of another popular series, arguably the best seinen series out there that is ongoing right now, and that is Golden Kamuy, volumes 16 and 17. We are getting into a super interesting part in this manga. Something happened at the end of the last arc. I don't want to say for spoilers, but I'm all in right now with what's going on because this is something that ended with season 3. If you watch the anime where that ends, this is where these volumes pick up at, and that's where I stopped watching it, obviously because there's not season 4, but that is coming out pretty soon. I'm so excited to see what happens because, oh man, things went down, and I have to know where it goes because I love it. Their tensions are colliding, things are happening, and man, you guys gotta read Golden Kamuy because you are missing out if you're not. But anyway, let's get on to our extra special, the best of the best this week. My favorite, most unique, niche type series that are coming out this month. Or last month, my bad. So for this last little bit, we have mostly Viz signatures and then one Square Enix title on here, so let's get into it. First off, we're going to start off with Dead Demons, DDD's Destruction. This volume, you get to see a look into the past, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But when you what we discover, it's getting hot in here, right? It's like it's something special, man. I love the series. Inio Asano is such a fantastic mangaka, and this makes me want to check out every one of his other series that are out there. Dead Demons is so good, so fantastic, such an interesting look at so many other things besides like an end of the apocalypse situation. There's so many different people, politics, religion, everything that is combined within this, and it just gives such an interesting and good discussion piece for everyone to talk about how the world, and it's through the eyes of Inio Asano, obviously, but just such a good discussion piece in my opinion, and the story itself is so top tier, along with his art and the characters. Everything about that series is perfect. I cannot think of like any complaint for it, to be honest. And speaking of Inio Asano, when I said I wanted to check out more of his works, I'm slowly collecting them. So this is volumes 2 and 7 of Goodnight Poon Poon. I almost said Dead Demons again, because I have volume 1 and I'm slowly picking them up as I find them for cheap. Volume 7 is the last volume, so I need to get the rest of them because I'm planning on binging this and then getting into, I don't know, a depression, I guess, because that's what everyone says they have when they read it. So I cannot wait to check this out. It seems so good and such an interesting read. I really love thought-provoking and unique series, and Goodnight Poon Poon is obviously known as one of the most unique and interesting, thought-provoking, depressing series out there, and I cannot wait to read it because I really want to know what's inside these volumes that get people talking like that, and it just seems like something that I need to read. I really do. So, next up, we have Soul Eater by Square Enix. Now, this is a special hardcover edition. These are the perfect editions for it, and man, are these nice. Like, even the page quality in here. I'm not a fan of, like, I'm not a fan of, like, laminated pages, but for the rest of it, it's fine. I really just I'm not a huge fan of laminated pages. They really don't feel comfortable for me. It's such a minor first world problem complaint. Like, to get something this nice and then complain about laminated pages. But the paper quality is top tier, other than my personal disagreement with it. And even the laminated pages are really nice. The colors really pop. There's a bunch of color pages in this. I'm really excited to be checking out Soul Eater for the first time. Okubo's Fire Force is so good. I'm loving volume 1 of Soul Eater. It's so good. The only reason I didn't watch the anime is because I heard the ending was different. I also heard the ending was bad in the anime. So I'm going for that. And plus, these perfect editions came out at the perfect time for me to check it out. So, I mean, I'm not complaining. It's destiny. I can't fight it. Next up and last up, we have Drifting Classroom Volume 3, the final volume of this. This is another, obviously, perfect edition for it. I think there are 13 volumes in total for the singles. This is such a good horror series. I really, really enjoyed it. It felt less like a horror and more like a thriller to me, and that's why I really enjoyed it, because I'm more of a thriller fan than a horror fan, because horror really gets out of hand with its story, and I feel like a lot of things are forced in it, especially in this volume. The ending explanation of how they got to the situation they're in, and just some of the things that ended up getting in there felt a little bit forced and a little bit out there, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. But overall, it is such a good read, and if you can get past some of like the old world thinking of it, that's the best way I can describe it. It's made back in like the 70s, I believe, or maybe even earlier than that, maybe the 60s or something like that. But so it has a little bit of that like old-timey thinking for it, but it's such a fantastic read. And even when it has like, there's like, I'm just gonna spoil the part because I've said it before, but basically in one of the parts they form a student council like presidency thing, and then they say women can't be part of it. So if you can look past that, then it's such a fantastic read because it's so good overall. But even in that kind of a way, the person that is in here, like the main girl, I can't remember her name for some reason. It's escaping me because I'm under pressure, man. I can't handle it. But this, like the character in there that is the girl, seems like is actually, honestly, one of the strongest and best characters in here, and I really liked her character overall throughout the entire thing. She was a really good support to the main protagonist. She did a lot of helpful things when in there, and even though they'd said that, I was really thinking they were gonna like kind of put all the, you know, the girls all off to the side, and it was just gonna be kind of like boys do all kind of a thing, but they actually didn't do that. There were a lot of really big roles for the female characters in here that I didn't expect to take after they said that kind of a comment, and it's pretty good, and it was a different expectation than what I thought when they said that, but I really do recommend that. It's by Kazuo Umez, I believe, if I'm not saying that wrong. Yeah, Kazuo Umez. Recommend that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, I always appreciate you guys checking this out. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel that I deserved it. And as always, Dubs Not Subs.